I'm Josh Mitchell on small construction company, Mitchell Construction. And I guess quick first work background, I went to school in North Carolina and I paid my way through college doing construction. And I grew up in a farm mountain area of North Carolina, so I'd always done lots of building, that sort of thing. And just got into construction because it was an easy job for a guy, you know, it's like, oh, I'm just getting into construction. So anyways, long and short, I get a degree in U.S. history and I've never used that. And I moved to New Zealand, did a lot of construction there, a lot of higher end tile, natural stone kind of work, and then some timber frame work for a couple large houses. And moved out here 4 years ago and became a licensed contractor, I guess 3 years ago, in the Denver and Boulder area. And I guess I kind of got into historic work. Lots of remodel stuff, and then, you know, from basic remodels on not that old of houses to, you know, kind of progressed and get into a whole lot more older houses. And to be honest, most of my work's in the Denver area, just because I've kind of, you know, happened to get clients down there. And so I guess we'll go from there. You know, what I'll talk about is the 5 most important items to talk about in historic restoration. So first and foremost, I guess have your historical approval before any work commences, because it can take a long time. You know, historic neighborhoods, obviously, they're tight-knit communities, and it can take a whole long time to, you know, to get started. Before, you know, permits of any kind, you got to get all your historical approval first. House we're working on now, it took us 6 months to get approval on a garage, and half the garage in the alleys are just concrete block buildings, but now that it's historic, the garage has to match. Which, you know, it's kind of just the way they are, and it's, you know, it comes with that. Historic commissions kind of work on their own timeline. They don't, you know, they don't really care if you got to get a house done next week and it's got to be sold. They're going to be on their timeline, so make sure you get out there quick and early before the work's got to get done and start, you know, that process. And then I don't know if this is true in Boulder. It's true in Denver. It's true in Chapel Hill when I worked in North Carolina. But all your historical approvals have to be done before you can even get your building permits. So, you know, I'll just get my building permit, then I'll get approved to do the exterior work later. They won't do it. They won't let you work on the inside without being approved to do the outside first. So, second item, I guess, is make sure you choose the right contractor. And, you know, obviously there's plenty of good contractors out there, but contractors kind of, you know, end up getting kind of specific in what you do. And, you know, the guy who builds the, you know, the multi-million-dollar new homes in Aspen or whatever might not be the guy you want for a, you know, 1900 Victorian. You know, it's just contractors who, you know, are specific to new construction. They kind of just get pigeonholed into that, and then all the guys they work with, their subcontractors, are usually used to working in, you know, those sort of situations as well. So then you bring them into an old historic house where everything's just kind of a disaster and the floors are all out of level. It just, your timeline goes out the window with the quickness. Next up, I guess, is have a detailed plan before the project begins. And I guess that kind of goes along with being ready with the historic commission. But if it's not laid out all up front, then you'll really start falling behind on the timeline. You know, like little things like your floors are out of level, but you didn't, you know, plan for that to be fixed. Then all of a sudden you're 2 weeks behind and your electricians can't start. So, you know, it's not like a new house where it's easy to schedule and be like, oh, well, it's going to be a week or two to do your framing and then so on and so forth. It's like a, you know, it's got to take a lot more time up front to get your plan right. And that way, in the end, you get the, you know, you're finished on the timeline you want on the product, you know, end product's what you're looking for. And then with historic places, you know, and the timeline, you need to make sure that, you know, after you have your approval, that you get materials ordered, because lots of stuff isn't going to be off the shelf. You know, your exterior house has to match like the neighborhood, so you might have to order your siding months in advance to get it there. It might not even be made anymore. It might be specially milled. So just little stuff like that, you know, like the timeline can really, it's totally different than a normal house. Next up, I guess, know your neighbors in the neighborhoods and make sure you keep them happy. And I've kind of come to realize this from the last 2 big projects we've done, and you find out real quick the neighborhoods are really, they're tight-knit communities. You know, everybody's looking out for each other, and they, you know, no matter if you hate the color of the houses, like, that's the color they've chosen. They want you to, you just start liking them too. The house we're working on now has this big addition that was put on the front in the 1950s, and it's not historic at all. It's not period, but it's already there, and it came in after, it got grandfathered in basically. And literally every day, one of the neighbors comes by, "Are you guys gonna tear that off? You gonna tear that addition off and make it original again?" So it's one of those things, you just gotta talk to the people, become their friend. Even if you're not gonna do it off, you just kind of, "Oh yeah, we're working on it, we'll just see what happens." You don't necessarily have to lie to them, but you have to just, make them feel good, make them let them know that you're actually thinking about them. And it seems to work out a lot better. And then something else I've noticed is that the people in the neighborhood really are, they care about the neighborhood itself. And they want to see what you've done. And so, like the last one we finished, a lot of the neighbors kept going, "Oh, can we see it when it's done?" So we kind of had like a semi-open house for the neighborhood and let everybody just come in, and then they were like happy to know that their neighborhood was, bettered by this new development or whatever. So like, just let them kind of, feel good about their neighborhood, and they feel good about the work that's been done, and they end up liking you more in the end. So it works out well.
So you're at 5. You can just keep going if you want. So you might want to wrap up.
A very last one here. Okay, even though the neighborhood is not historic, there's still, historic parts of non-historic neighborhoods. So I guess one of the things is, if you have an old house and you want to add an addition onto it, try to keep some sort of character. You don't want to have this like crazy new, house that just doesn't flow with the neighborhood. So it's kind of, historic restoration goes on in neighborhoods that aren't specific to that, I guess. And that's it, I guess.
Well, I've got a question. Just refresh my memory. You ran a work crew, I think, in North Carolina as well. That was on new stuff. And now you're focused on more, just by, I guess, the way it's worked out.
Actually, when I moved here, I was a foreman for a framing company in Boulder, D&D Builders, and we did all new construction and major remodels and additions. So it was all new stuff pretty much. And I think the reason I kind of do more historic stuff, my parents live in a house. It's a log house, and the logs are from 2 old barns in Virginia, like 200-year-old hand-hewed logs. So I kind of grew up around like the older stuff, I guess. So maybe that's why I have that influence now. Pretty nice.
It's cool.
I got a question. When you have like attic space in a garage, you know how like a lot of people put up one of those pull down staircases? What would it take to make the garage, that attic space, possible, like to put flooring in and actually be able to walk around on it and stuff like that? I don't know if I'm making this clear.
For storage or for an actual livable space?
For storage. But then you could like access from the 2nd floor of a house. In other words,
right.
They would meet, and what would it take to be able to walk out through a closet into that area that you would have put flooring in? So you could actually not have to go up that staircase.
That's what you're saying. So it's already is that flooring in it at all now, or is it just
no,
just
it's
the
just
joists?
the beams, the regular.
I mean, I guess the first main thing is make sure that your ceiling joists are strong enough to actually hold a load.
So you need a civil engineer? Or?
I mean, you don't have to. I mean, if it's just for storage, I mean, you can kind of, the loads are specific to whatever size timber it is. So it's pretty easy to tell. So.
You ever seen that done?
Not cutting it from a room to come through, but it shouldn't be that hard usually. Anything can be done.
That's builder speaking.
That's right.
What was the major difference that you noticed between construction here and construction in New Zealand?
Construction in New Zealand's a lot more beefy, I would say. It's a lot stronger. It seems like a lot more concrete work. Your stud walls, instead of just being like thrown up really quick, have to have blocking at every 3 feet. So you gotta, your studs are full length, but they're blocked out between every 3 feet. Yeah, it just seemed a lot more substantial. Everything is a little bit, a little bit stronger. Everything here's wood frame, and there it's a lot more cement based.
And all the materials are so much more durable. Everything, they don't use composite shingles. They use